Hello and welcome to Angry Andy Reviews, and today I have my review for Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews.
Angry Andy. Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews.
Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews.
Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews. Angry Andy Reviews.
Don't make me destroy you.
Regardless of your own thoughts on the journey or the saga leading to Warner Brothers actively agreeing to fan demand and pressure, it is nothing short of a miracle that Zack Snyder's vision has been fulfilled and it is actually out there. This is something that we have never seen before in any regard whatsoever. Of course, we've been treated to deleted scenes in the past for other projects, but this is an entirely new venture in itself. Sprawling and mythological it certainly is here, resonating deeper in the key moments that were unashamedly skirted over and rushed into pointlessness with the original Whedon cut. It is, without doubt, a much better version of what we previously received. Infinitely more enjoyable and with a flow that, despite the overbearing length, is solid and much better paced. The excess of its own grandiosity, the typical Snyder production aspects, make for a beautifully cinematic visual treat, although for me the slow-mo scenes did start to grate on my cheddar just a little bit. Forget whatever controversy or negative reaction you may have seen in regards to the 4:3 aspect ratio. Everything here is in full view and beautifully realised and cements that auteur aesthetic that Snyder clearly evokes and has showcased in films like Watchmen. I'm not sure in my own perspective that he is entirely an auteur film director, but he has a very, very particular style of filmmaking, the colouring, the way that everything feels drained into each other. You get it in full volume here. The whole thing, the whole entire film, feels tonally different despite large portions of the film remaining as they were from the original cut. Beyond the obviousness of added gore, especially from Wonder Woman's no-nonsense dispatching of a terrorist group at the start, or the added F-bombs here and there throughout, the overall tone and pacing feels much more intense, and the stakes feel higher, stronger and larger, not just with the introduction of Darkseid, who does remain on the fringes still, but with Steppenwolf's altered motivations. He has a better reason, a better purpose as a herald of doom, paving the way for Darkseid and his own redemption that enhances a newfound look that we see him in. He is a much better villain. He looks the part. He has a better vocal intonation throughout. In fact, Steppenwolf is just a much more better villain here than he was in the Whedon cut. The latter portion of the film, the final fight, is much better, feeling much stronger and featuring some great extended action sequences whilst cutting the unnecessary and just boring save the stranded family tropey plotline that slowed down and made light of the conflict with Steppenwolf in the original cut. There is no mention whatsoever of this family. Where the final fight takes place is a desolate wasteland, as it really, if you think about it, should have been. The whole fight takes place in a remote wasteland, probably, inspired by sort of Chernobyl, where no one lives due to radiation, and it makes more sense here that Steppenwolf would choose this location to, bring about what eventually should have happened. I find it truly fascinating and ultimately telling of the clear disparity in creative outlook that Snyder chose to focus entirely on the central characters and not fall into the meaningless and jokey nature that compounds the previous iteration. He has done away with so many of the jokes, so many of the underlying threads that didn't really work, the subtext of the characters that didn't really work in the previous cut, and he has focused squarely on those central characters of Batman, Superman, everything that it should have been. A great deal is different in the minutiae. The subtext, as I said, of the characters in their interactions is much more reserved and less ham-fisted. But with that, you still lose an element of the team aesthetic, despite some well-calculated build-up in the first couple of chapters. And here is where the issues still remain for me. The characters themselves still don't fit. Again, despite the running time, the introductions of both Cyborg and Flash still feel clunky, still feel rushed and stilted, even bizarre to a degree. Cyborg does feature a deeper, more emotionally impactful introduction, but the character still feels at odds with the team, and Ray Fisher's performance doesn't quite match up at all. He doesn't seem to have the charisma or intonation to go toe-to-toe with Affleck or Godot. The Flash, for me, doesn't work at all, both in character style and in performance from Ezra Miller. I just don't buy it. I really, really don't buy it. I'm struggling to see how this character version of the Flash is going to lead a film as potently important as Flashpoint. The added sequence of him saving Iris West is an absolute cringe fest. A slow-mo sequence whereby he catches Iris from certain death sounds good in theory, but the execution is downright weird and awkward. Iris is stone-faced and expressionless despite careening through the air at high speed. At one point, however, it looks like she's smirking, which I just don't understand at all. It's such a weird feeling scene. It doesn't feel right at all. The Flash, however, as he rushes to save her, and he gets out there really quick, and there's a really cool moment where he presses through the glass to get through to her. He takes the opportunity when he reaches her to not save her in the immediacy, but slow down time enough so that he can touch her face, brush her hair, and then stroke a flying hot dog sausage. Okay, in fact, wait a minute. Why is she not wearing a chuffing seatbelt for a start? I guess Americans don't really like seatbelts. Driver safety, everyone. Come on. Would it have not been more impactful, more exciting to see him rush through? Yes, we know he can slow down time completely. He can go that fast that he can reverse time. And there is a wonderful bit later on in the film where it explores the Flash being able to use his powers fully. Would it have not been more impactful to see him rush in, tearing her from the car, as she's trapped almost due to the impact of hitting this truck, pulling her away from the seatbelt, maybe struggling a bit to comprehend, exactly what is going on. Maybe this is the first time he's actually saving someone, I don't know. But, that's just me. The whole thing, as I said, just puts into question mark the solo Flash film for me. Going away from that, the film is still an intensely ponderous affair, something that it suffered from originally, and most of the major character developments still don't feel fully earned. Some character moments are downright head-scratching, such as Darkseid's apparent forgetful nature. Yes, somehow the major villain here, the overseer of everything, the commander of this massive armada, Darkseid, who has suffered one singular defeat that we know of across the whole of the multiverse with his huge armada, experienced said defeat on the same planet where the location of the anti-life equation resides, and where he also managed to lose the mother boxes, the three most important pieces of his arsenal. And he somehow forgets where all this happened. The three major setbacks, the defeat, the loss of the anti-life equation, and the misplacement of the mother boxes, all on Earth, all at the same time, and he forgets where it all happened. Fantastic writing. Absolutely fantastic writing. That, I don't know, just feels a little bit shoehorned in. Like, it has to give reason as to why Darkseid hasn't returned to Earth in 5,000 years since the dissolution of the old gods. And don't get me wrong, the scene where Darkseid is fighting the old gods, Ares, and the Green Lantern cameo, you know, really, really well done. I was buying into it. Much better having Darkseid at the fore than Steppenwolf in the previous version. You get to see Darkseid in all his glory. Obviously, he is defeated very quickly, but surely that would give precedence for Darkseid to go away, rearm. Maybe it does take him 5,000 years. I don't know. Maybe he resides somewhere where time passes, you know, much more quickly. You know, my lore on Darkseid isn't really up there, but I know enough to sort of hash together a theory. But the sheer fact that he forgets everything, I can't. I can't. I still remember where I was living, how old I was, and exactly what I was doing in the build-up to when I accidentally flushed my favourite watch down the toilet when I was a kid. It haunts me to this very day. I'm pretty sure if you lose a massive armada, 3 mother boxes, and the most important equation that you've been seeking your entire life, you would remember that it happened on Earth. The overriding feeling I take from this is, despite the inherent flaws that sadly remain and some of the quirkier, more ridiculously stupid moments, as I've mentioned, from the sheer structure of the film, the grind of the whole feature, which didn't bother me at all in truth. I sat through Cleopatra in one sitting, for Christ's sake, is that it does feel like a much stronger film. It makes more sense and succeeds thematically where Whedon's cut ultimately failed. I can't help but question, though, that if this goes no further, if there is no continuation story-wise or thematically, as I said, what was the point? Was it really worth it? In the immediacy, yes, we get something we've always wanted to see, a much better cut. Clearly, though, an Injustice parallel universe has been created within this film. If that goes nowhere, surely that will sting greater than the Whedon release ever did. To me, that speaks of the true issue with the DC movies, a lack of context and continuity that leaves all the properties, even this feat of Zack Snyder's wonderful vision, to feel fractured and disjointed by a higher power's creative decisions or lack thereof. Still, despite the obvious and untenable flaws, it is still a release to celebrate and be thankful for. Justice has prevailed here for fans and for Snyder himself. I just hope that DC and Warner Brothers have the courage to see what lies before them, where they have gone wrong in the past with their characters, and strive to create a much better path here on out. Justice League is still not perfect in the Snyder cut, but it can be a gateway to something much better. Who knows? I guess we'll see. For me, this is a marked improvement, as I said, and at the moment, without having watched it for a second time, it does sit at a nice 7 out of 10 for me. And there you have it. That's the Snyder Cut. How many years has it been? What, 4 years? Incredible. But there you go. I do wonder if other studios will somehow decide to do alternate releases. I can't see it, but who knows what will happen in the future. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more movie reviews like this, discussions, figure unboxings and collectible unboxings. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.